KIA Naga tensions escalate after capture of 16 Naga Army personnel in Myanmar. A 2025 conflict unfolding. Laos, Myanmar, July 29, 2025. A diplomatic and armed standoff is brewing in Myanmar's northern frontier as tensions flare between two historically allied ethnic resistance movements, the Kachin Independence Army, KIA, and the Naga insurgent group NSCNK, Young Ong faction. The trigger: the capture of 16 Naga Army personnel by the KIA on July 18, 2025, near Talu and Lungeon villages in the Zalengam region, a territory that lies along the tenuous border between Naga-controlled zones and Kachin strongholds. The Naga Students' Organization, NSO, based in Laos, quickly condemned the incident, labeling it as an act of unprovoked aggression and a betrayal of ethnic brotherhood, demanding the unconditional release of the detained. The NSO's press release stressed that their previous attempt at reconciliation with the KIA in June 2024 ended in frustration after the delegation was denied a meeting with senior KIA leaders, relegated instead to talks with low-ranking field officers. No agreement emerged, but the Naga delegation held onto the hope of renewed cooperation. That hope was shattered when the KIA detained Naga soldiers during what was reported as a patrol mission inside contested territory. Many observers believe that the Naga leadership aborted further meetings with the KIA following this incident, fearing deeper hostilities and lack of accountability within KIA's top command. This chain of events has turned what was once a brotherhood of shared resistance into a potentially explosive conflict. From brotherhood to hostility, a fracturing alliance. The relationship between the Kachins and Nagas, particularly in Myanmar's rugged northern terrain, was once a tapestry of cultural, spiritual, and military kinship. Both ethnic groups have suffered long and violent marginalization under successive Burmese regimes, particularly after the 1962 military takeover and the more recent 2021 coup that plunged Myanmar into a deep civil war. Their shared Baptist Christian faith and similar tribal worldviews had fostered what some called an ethnic covenant. Indeed, the churches among the Tangshang Nagas, dominant in Laos and Leschi, grew under the tutelage of Kachin missionaries. Catholic Nagas still use Kachin, Jangpho hymnals, and for decades, Kachin elders would travel across mountain ridges to join the Naga New Year festival, bringing offerings and dances in symbolic gestures of unity. But behind this fraternal display simmered an invisible rivalry, intensified by economic stakes, particularly the multi-billion-dollar jade economy of Kachin State, controlled largely by the KIA. Many Naga settlements in Tanai and Shinbuyang townships border jade-rich areas. Competition over these resources and accusations of encroachment had been brewing quietly for years. The incident of July 2025 simply brought that long-suppressed tension into the open. The July 2025 incident, prelude and aftermath. The captured personnel belonged to the NSCNK, YA, a faction of the National Socialist Council of Nagaland led by Young Ong, nephew of the late SS Koplang. This faction has retained its base in Myanmar and remained committed to an armed insurgency even after Koplang's death in 2017. According to unofficial sources, the captured men were conducting routine movements near Lungeon village, a known flashpoint near Jade Fields, when they were surrounded and overpowered by KIA soldiers. Unconfirmed reports suggest no shots were fired, possibly pointing to a premeditated operation rather than a spontaneous firefight. For the NSO, this act was a violation of ethnic protocols and mutual recognition. Their statement read, "The Kachins, through the actions of the KIA, have chosen the path of confrontation. The Nagas are not at fault." A failed dialogue before the detention. The June 2024 peace overture, led by senior members of the NSO and elders from Laos, was meant to patch up rising tensions over territorial disputes and conflicting patrols along the Zalengam-Kachin border. However, the Naga delegation was refused an audience with senior KIA leadership, including General Gun Ma and other influential commanders. They were instead ushered into a makeshift camp and engaged by junior officers who reportedly offered no concrete assurances or recognition of Naga territorial claims in Tanai and Xinbuyang. The dismissal was seen as an insult, and while no statements were made publicly, diplomatic sources confirmed that the NSO's faith in the KIA's goodwill had been shaken. When the capture of Naga fighters occurred a year later, it was seen not as an isolated act, but the culmination of a pattern, and likely the last straw. Fragmented struggles. Who are the Naga Army factions? Understanding the tension requires delving into the complex structure of the Naga Army, particularly in Myanmar. 1. NSCN, IM. The Indian-based faction led by Isak Kishi Swu and Thuengalang Muiva, now Muiva alone, has been engaged in peace talks with the Indian government since 1997. Though primarily focused on Nagaland in India, it has a moral and logistical influence on Myanmar-based Nagas. 2. NSCN-K. Founded by the late SS Koplang, this group operated across Myanmar and India with a robust fighting force of around 2,000 cadres. It has built alliances with Indian Northeast insurgents like ULFA, PLA, and UNLF. After Koplang's death, the group fragmented. 3. NSCN-K-YA. The breakaway faction led by Young Ong, considered more radical and refusing to join peace efforts. This group, headquartered near Loth and H. County, was the one directly affected by the July 2025 capture. Though small in number, NSCN-K-YA's strategic importance lies in its control over transborder routes, making it an asset or an irritant depending on the regional power's interests. Why the KIA might have acted? The Kachin Independence Army, numbering around 10,000 to 15,000 well-trained fighters, is among Myanmar's most formidable ethnic armed groups. It controls parts of Jadrich H. Pakant, Tanai, and much of northern Kachin State, operating with near autonomy since the 1990s. After the 2021 coup, the KIA expanded its operations, battling the Myanmar junta and aligning loosely with the PDF, People's Defense Force. The KIA's relationship with smaller neighboring groups, however, has become strained. As more resistance groups emerge and borders blur, competition over safe zones, taxation rights, and smuggling routes has caused friction. Some sources suggest the KIA viewed NSCN-K-YA patrols as unauthorized intrusions into its sphere of control. Moreover, the jade trade, dominated by Chinese syndicates, has created economic incentives for the KIA to assert territorial dominance, even over former allies. It's possible that the 16 detained Naga soldiers were meant as a message, not just to the Nagas, but to all ethnic groups operating in contested spaces. Geopolitical forces at play. While this might seem a localized ethnic conflict, it sits at the intersection of larger geopolitical interests. India, concerned about cross-border Naga insurgents and Chinese influence in the region, has launched covert operations in Myanmar, notably the 2015 hot pursuit attack against NSCN-K camps. Delhi would likely prefer a weakened NSCN-K-YA that aligns with peace. China, meanwhile, has poured investments into the jade economy and infrastructure projects in Kachin State. The KIA's economic sustenance is inextricably tied to Chinese traders. Some speculate that pressure from Chinese stakeholders may have influenced the KIA's approach to rogue groups like NSCN-K-YA. In such a web of interests, even ethnic ties can be sacrificed for power and survival. The Naga people's sentiments. On the ground, the capture has divided opinions among Nagas in Myanmar. While many decry the KIA's betrayal, some question the NSCN-K-YA's decision to operate near volatile regions. Others fear this marks the end of Naga-Kachin unity, a bond once held sacred. In Leschi and Loth townships, elders recall the days when Kachin and Naga children attended the same mission schools, when marriage alliances were common, and when insurgent camps shared food and bullets alike. A retired Naga commander, on condition of anonymity, remarked, "We fought shoulder to shoulder against the Burmese, but now greed has divided us. Jade has replaced justice." A story behind the numbers, when alliances break. In a village not far from Tanai, an old woman named Lemkonla still lights a candle every evening for her son, a Naga cadre missing since the July 18 incident. No official word has reached her. No body has returned. "He is not a criminal. He is a son of the hills," she whispers in Tangsheng Naga dialect. Once the Kachins were guests at their harvest festivals. Now the silence is heavier than bullets. No messengers from the KIA have come to explain. The churches have not spoken. The government is invisible. And in this silence, an old alliance lies buried, beneath stones once shared, now shattered by suspicion. Final reflection. The capture of 16 Naga Army personnel by the KIA is more than a military misstep. It is a symbol of a regional fracture that may take years to mend. As diplomacy fails and alliances shift, the people who suffer most are not the commanders or politicians, but the families left in limbo, the youth dragged into wars they did not start, and the ancient friendships forgotten in the name of borders, minerals, and might. If there is a lesson to be learned, it is this. Even among the oppressed, power can corrupt, and solidarity is fragile when ambition overrides memory.